Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, the competitive Kill Team 40k podcast and YouTube channel, focused on giving you the strategies and tactics to seize initiative every turning point. I'm your host Ryan, and I'm here to give you the tips and tricks to elevate every part of your Kill Team experience. If you enjoy this content and you want more, you can join our Patreon for as little as £3 a month. We'll get access to our Discord, Patreon priority questions, early access to videos including Kill Team bat reps, faction guides, and much more. If that's not for you, you can support just by hitting like, subscribe, and sharing these videos amongst the community of Kill Team enthusiasts local to you. Finally, if you're looking to buy some new miniatures or paints, you can buy them through Element Games, getting a 15% discount, and if you use our affiliate link below, you'll support the show as well. With all that said, let's get into it. It's just Ian and his mates.
Right.
That's going to be the new thing.
Next question. So talking of teams then.
It's such a terrible Kill Team name.
Which Kill Team do you suspect could be much higher up our tier list if you played 30 games with them?
Okay, yeah. So this is an interesting question. So I think I'm going to sort of read this question a little bit differently because I think the tier list for me when I build it is built based on having played those games. So I don't think it would change the tier list as such, right? I still think that if you're playing Harkin Salvages into Chaos Cults, it's going to be a rough ride, right? But I think that the way I'm going to read into it a little bit is if you got lots of experience with a team, like what teams could you make someone have a really hard time playing against that they didn't expect? I've sort of got three answers that I think are out there. So my first answer is actually going to be Exaction Squad. I've been playing quite a few games with them now. I'm probably up to sort of 15 or so. And I'm learning every time I play them. And I'm getting to the point now where I've realized they do not have a take all comers list. They are like quite literally the exact opposite. And how many shields you take, or if you take any shields at all, completely varies based on who you're playing against. It's wild, right? And so I'm learning those lessons, and even tac ops. Like I'm constantly switching between seek and destroy and security, which is something I haven't ever done before. And so that's really interesting. So I think Exaction Squad are one of those teams where, as you play more with them, you can really learn some cool, neat tricks against your opponents that are gonna hurt them. So here's a perfect example. You have the dog, the Cyber Mastiff, i.e. Nelson, and you have the Leash Master, right? And if you APL buff the dog, right, the dog can then charge someone and apprehend them and do D3 mortal wounds and then fight them afterwards, right? So if you're fighting, say, commandos and they're a 10, or beastmen, they're a 10 wound model, well, if you apprehend them, the chances are you'll do 2 mortal wounds or 3 mortal wounds, and they'll go from being a 10 wound model to an 8 wound model, and then suddenly your 3-5 damage profile will kill them. Like that's a huge difference, and that's like just one little technique thing that I've found playing them against those sort of like brute style teams where you can just suddenly take down a 10-win model really effectively, and that's really interesting and really cool to me. So that's my first answer. I then think Novitiates are going to be up there. I think they're one of those teams where if you're really good with Novitiates, you can just guarantee stuff happening all the time. And that's so hard to play against when you can just make stuff happen. And so I think if you were very, very good on all the maps, you knew the layouts and knew roughly, or you planned all your movements, you could really get that working for you. And so I think they're probably a team that would put in a much better showing than potentially their C tier shows. And finally, I'm going to go with Harkin Salvages. I think they're one of those teams where if you play an immaculate game with them, like you can actually really do some work, and you can really get them doing what you need to do. And they have so many like little abilities here, there, and there, and And if you can min-max all of them and you can like really get them to work together, I think that could be a really strong team. So that being said, I caveat it as per usual. I still think that they've got inherent weaknesses. And I think that if you're always trying to play a team like without a single mistake to be able to be competitive, that's not a useful team build to have, because that's just hurts you, right? So yeah, but those would be my answers.
Time for one more, or I'm looking at that clock and it's getting close.
Yeah, I think we've got time for a couple.
Cool.
That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Just drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan, this has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.